It is 8:10 Newstalk Sauga 960 Raw. Mike Richards along with David Bastl. And of course, at this time of year, there's a lot of things going on. The Christmas freaks have Christmased it up way too early, way too early. Then there's other things like people like myself who are still thinking about the lawn, still wondering what you got to do. Hasn't that long ago that had the fall fertilizer on it, trying to keep all the leaves off, trying to do all the things that we learned from Matt from HomeTurf Lawn Care. He told me, he tells us all these inside secrets you only find out on this show. And he's joining us now because he's going to say, just what do you do at this time of year? Like people, you see them out with the lawnmowers because I'll do that, and it also collects the leaves at the same time. So there's your bonus. But what's the height? Like, what are you cutting the lawn at? Like, should you keep the lawn? Because some people say, well, make sure you keep this on the lawn because it keeps out, everyone's got these philosophies, but you want to do it the right way because there's nothing worse. Then in the spring, you realize you haven't done what you're supposed to. Now you got extra work, all this other stuff to do just to get the lawn in shape. So we go to our good friend, Matt Hooper. Matt, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, thanks. How you doing, Mike?
Well, so what do we do now? So like I do have a lot of trees on the property. Like I have a lot. It's like a provincial park in the backyard. So it's constant leaves. Now you got to get that stuff up, right? Like you don't want things on the lawn before snow comes. Like what is the danger with that?
Yeah, I mean, some leaves are okay, and you're right. I mean, if you're running your mower across it, mulching some of that leaves and leaving it on the lawn is fine. It's actually a really nice natural compost. But if you get too much leaves and it's just going to become a breeding ground for fungus over the course of the winter, and that's not what you want. You'll end up with snow mold and all sorts of issues with your lawn in the spring that will require a lot of maintenance to get it back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, as a general rule of thumb, I would say make sure to be, raking up your leaves. And that's also a great time to be doing a general sort of power rake of your lawn anyways, picking up a lot of the thatch that's built up over the course of the season. That thatch and a heavy amount of leaves, like I said, will sort of retain moisture at the sort of soil level. And that's going to, become a breeding ground for fungus and other things.
So that would kind of fall into the category of what fall specific tasks should I add to my list to make my lawn winter ready? Is there anything else we're missing outside of that? Because it is cooler temperatures overnight. I mentioned earlier on in the cast that this entire week we will see minus temperatures throughout the night, leading into the morning, frost on the windshields and so forth. Is there anything else we could add to that list, Matt?
Yeah, I think a fertilizer application this time of year is a great thing to do. It'll help get your lawn, ready for winter. Obviously, through the summer months, particularly what we saw in August in Southern Ontario, it was hot and dry, tended to sort of deplete lawns of a lot of their nutrients. So a winterizing fertilizer is a great thing to do. And then aeration, if you haven't already, this time of year, an aeration app along with some top seeding, at least up until pretty recently, still would have been a good practice. And then, like I said, I mean, a good sort of power rake of your lawn to clean up any thatch, and being smart about your leaves. Some leaves mulched on the lawn is good, but if you have a lot of leaves on there, you're setting yourself up for failure. But you do all those things, you're going to be in great shape heading into the winter. You'll be able to avoid snow mold, and you should see your lawn rebound well in the spring.
Well, the one thing that I did this fall that I haven't ever done, usually when I grow grass or have to, patch up lawns or do whatever, but it's mostly about the grass seed and growing. It's always been in the spring. I generally do it in the spring, a couple times in the summer, but I've never done it in the fall. We had some warm weather in September and I think even into October, and I've never seen grass grow as well as it does even in the spring. Is that something that is normal? Like, is it a good or better time to start growing grass? Because our lawn is the best it's looked like in September. It really, because it wasn't getting a beating from the sun, I guess, but the grass growing, the lawn looks amazing.
Yeah, a lot of people think, great time to plant seed would be when they're doing most of their gardening in sort of the summer months, but actually that heat tends to be a big stress for new seed, and so the best times to plant it are actually in the spring or in the fall. And we've had really mild weather here all the way into November, and so actually October was a fantastic time to be planting seed. So it's we're now obviously with snow starting to fall, we're getting a little late in the season now. But certainly, in future years, spring, fall, anytime where the temperatures are in those sort of mid-teens is ideal for planting seed.
So at HomeTurf, are there any new programs, services, anything happening for next year? Because I know a lot of times you'll get those notifications up to renew for next year and so forth, and people could probably take advantage of some pretty good, cost savings opportunities as well.
Yeah, you bet. This has been it's a busy time for us. We're in the middle of our renewal campaign, so customers for next season prepaying. And we also have a new program for next season, dubbed our Ambassador program. It really builds off the complete program that we already have, but adds a lot more seeding. So we add a granular compost and seed application in the spring. And we also have seed bags with our proprietary seed blend that homeowners get at each visit, which is perfect for doing those small little upkeep projects around the yard between our visits. You're quite right. Our fall promotion's on right now. It actually ends this week, and it's our best sale of the year. It's also a great chance to lock in your pricing for next year, because obviously we keep hearing all over the place in our lives about inflation, and the cost of goods and services is going up. And so it's no different in the lawn care industry, and we're offering this opportunity for customers to lock in price now and be able to avoid any future price increases.
Well, it's kind of interesting you talk about that, because during this COVID period, I guess a lot of people decided to work on their homes. So a lot of the renovations and that kind of stuff and because of shortages, I mean, try finding lumber. I mean, try to find materials, or even a contractor that can do that stuff. I mean, they've been so heavily booked over the last 18 months, as much as certain parts of our society and businesses have not done well. The home renovation stuff has been off the charts, to the point where there's shortages. Have people done that with their lawns as well? Have people done sort of the landscape thing as well? Because I would think that would fall in the same category as home improvement.
I think they have. Yeah, I mean, people are home a lot more. Their lawn is much more visible for them. They're seeing it all day. Also people are gathering on their lawns. A lot of people still visit with friends and family, and they do that outside, and so they're spending more time on their lawns. And then on top of that, they're not going out to restaurants as much. Their vacations have maybe been put on hold, and so we are seeing a little bit more investment in that home space. But you're right. I mean, we're an industry that's been challenged by supply chain issues and the crazy drought that we saw out west this year. A lot of the seed that we grow or is grown in our industry comes from Western North America, and they've been decimated by that heat. So the cost of all the materials are going up, and we're doing our best to make sure that we can keep our prices where they're at and keep kind of driving great value for our customers.
Weather-wise, Matt, this summer, how has it been in your opinion? Because you've been in this industry for a while, and you've seen, cold summers, warm summers, some downright disappointing summers. But how would you rate this last 2021 campaign as far as the the grass aspect of it and how well it was?
Yeah, I think overall it was a pretty good year, all things considered. I mean, we did have a bit of a stretch there of dry, hot weather in August that tended to stress out lawns. But I mean, if you think about the most part in Southern Ontario, you're seeing that much sooner and for a much longer period of time. This year, July was pretty wet. And so, I think overall lawns really didn't go into dormancy much at all, maybe for a brief period in August. And we're seeing conditions in September and October that are as good as they've been in any of the past years of memory. So it's great. I think, customers who made the investment in their property did it in a great year. And now it's about kind of continuing that investment into next year and the years to come to see that sort of incremental growth one year to the next.
I'm just curious because I've seen different people do different things in my neighborhood. It's a fairly mature neighborhood, but not brand spanking new, but if in the, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 years in there somewhere. If it comes to repairing the lawns, I guess maybe it's due to size, but I've only used grass seed because it hasn't been a huge area. But when's the decision to go between, say, a grass seed and just go out and purchase sod? Like, what would be the parameters for you to make that decision?
I think it's a bit of a preference between customers. Ultimately, we really like the seed that we have, and it does really, really well in this environment. Not to say you can't find sod that can perform equally well, but we're also seeing a lot of issues with certain sods, certain sods that actually have certain diseases, or they'll have certain insects, and suddenly you bring that in and you introduce it into an environment, and now it's much more difficult to get rid of it. You're not seeing a lot of those same problems when you lay with seed. But obviously, if someone say has like a wedding coming up in their backyard, and they need grass in a month, and they need it to look good, and they just want that kind of immediate fix, sod can obviously help in that regard. Seed's going to take a little while longer.
Right. Matt, before we go here, so what's the best way of contacting HomeTurf? Because I know you are very substantial online, as well as manning a pretty good group that will take care of phone calls and so forth. But for anybody that has questions or needs more of these sort of Q&As like the three of us have had, what's the best way of going about it?
You bet. Yeah, you can order all of our products online at hometurf.ca. You can also get an instant quote that's customized to your property right there. And then, if you have any questions about your lawn, or just want to understand better which programs might be right for you, our local customer service team is standing by. You can call us 888-791-8873, and they're happy to help.
Maddie, thanks so much for this morning. Always do a great job. Best of luck. I guess you got to say happy holidays coming up soon. Feels weird to say that. Can't believe we've been talking about that. But I guess it is. And I'm sure once we get in the spring, we'll be talking to you again.
I look forward to it. Thanks, guys. Have a great time.
That is Matt Hooper from HomeTurf Lawn Care. Once again, if you got to get a hold of them, they're locally owned and operated business. They've been around for quite a while and give you the best possible price. You can find them on Twitter as well, too, at HomeTurf Lawn, at HomeTurf Lawn.